Hey y'all, Will here, otherwise Xelray, and we're going to be getting into a Once Human video about deviations. This is all the deviants that you can earn in the first week of launch of Once Human, and potentially further as I update this video. So getting right into it, we're going to be talking about the best way to get these deviants, where to get these deviants, and how best to use these deviants. That's going to be the bread and butter of this video. I'm going to try to keep it quick for you guys. However, do realize that where you can go down to the bottom of the video and scrub through the video, each deviant will be listed so you can quickly go between the deviants. These might be updated. I might have to do a new video later, but hopefully this will help everyone here to get a good grasp on the deviants that they want or they're having trouble getting and understand what they're good for. All right, getting started, we're first going to go to the Butterfly's Emissary. This is the first deviant you get in the game, and there's two things I want to mention. Everyone knows that you have this deviant. However, not everyone knows the mechanic of this deviant. When this deviant is active and attacks any monster, anyone who attacks that monster has a 25% increased weak spot damage on that creature. And so say you're fighting a boss with 3 other friends, one person can have the Butterfly's Emissary and make that boss take more damage from the entire party. This is a great debuff that increases damage overall for your team. Secondly, if you want to farm this deviant early on, you can go to the Iron River, which is where I'm at right now. This is where the Gray Water Camp is if you need help locating it more familiarly. You can go to the Richie Securement Point, which is right over here. And in the topmost building, you have a chance of getting another Butterfly's Emissary that you can farm to potentially be better. That's everything on the Butterfly's Emissary right now. Secondly, we have the Festering Gel. The Festering Gel is a 100% drop rate from the first boss. And in later hard and pro modes, you can farm a better version of the Festering Gel. The Festering Gel is, well, I will say was the best of combat deviants in the beta. I don't think anyone can fight that point. The Festering Gel, when active, heals your health, heals your sanity, and if you're hiding behind it, will block bullets for you while doing the previous 2. This was something that we couldn't actively obtain through many other means, so it became vital for us to use this. Instead of now new combat deviants, they've been reworked to do even more aggressive damage amounts and also buff your own damage that you're dealing to enemies. So combat deviants have increased in power quite a bit, and Festering Gel, instead of being the king of kings, is the king among other kings. Not as great, but still a wonderful deviant if you need extra help surviving the difficulties that you may find within this game or within dungeons or bosses that you're having trouble with. On to the Harveseed. The Harveseed is a 100% drop rate from the second boss treant, and it is something that I feel everyone should have in their base now at Once Human's launch. And I'll explain myself. I have one myself. I'll show you and I'll explain you what it does. There are buffs in this game, and the one that we're going to be looking at is going to be called Chloro Armor. It comes from the potion that you can make from the Harveseed's material, and you can make living armor. It activates Chloro Armor, which is a 2-hour buff. This does not elapse before 2 hours, mind you, but every time your health drops below 20%, you will heal 100% of your HP over the next 5 seconds. Now, this won't be able to activate for the next 10 minutes, but it will not drop the buff. Once that 10 minutes passes, you will be able to get another Chloro Armor. This is just saving you one extra way and keeping you healthy and able to get that extra bit of damage before you would normally die out so that you can continue progressing through the game at a good rate of speed. The Harveseed is a great deviant, and I think most people should be using them. Next, we have the Dreamcatcher. I had to remember the name there. The Dreamcatcher is a 100% drop rate from the third boss. In the beta, it used to be on dodge roll. You would leave spider webs, but now this is a spider web grenade. That's what the potion does. So It's not something that you need. It can be helpful if you need to run away from enemies. You can lock them down a little bit, make them slower so you can get out of the range so you can continue surviving and dealing damage at a range. Maybe it has better uses in PvP servers than PvE servers because you can slow down players. Let me know what you think. It is still a decent deviant, but not as good as it was in the beta. But I bet it has a better use because now you can throw spider webs across the map and web people up. Next on the list is the electric eel. You get this as a random chance from farming any fish or really fishing for any fish. However, during fishing events, the Surge of Fish event, you can have a better chance at finding these. I have found and my friends have found. It is somewhat conjecture, but we believe that during the events you can farm these quicker. Otherwise, you can get them anywhere that you can fish with bait. Next, we have the Disco Ball. The Disco Ball is a decent deviant. It has a potion that increases all your other potion effect durations by roughly 15 or 20%. The Disco Ball drops from the Hale's Moving House event that is a weekly reward near the very starting town of the game. That's where everyone has been finding it recently, and we don't know if we can farm it somewhere else. We've been trying to do the disco event and not having any luck even getting it to legendary difficulty. So we have, and I'm getting lost, excuse me. We have Deadsville. This is the first town in the game, and right northwest of Deadsville is this hill, right where my marker is. That marker locates where the Hale's Moving House is, and completing that event will allow you to get to the Disco Ball. Very simple, very easy. It is a decent deviant. Do you need it? Not really, but you might find good use for it. Next on the list is Frog the Leaper, and oh my lord, is this a nice deviant to have. Now, it isn't as essential as the Harveseed because Harveseed heals you, but this gives you two things that make your life much easier. Not only is it a crafting deviant that can create a potion that gives you a jump height that's like twice the height of your normal jump, however, it also gives you free fishing bait. It gives you fishing bait and also the Silver Springs for the Spring Legs whim. This is a 2-hour buff that increases your jump height by 3.5 meters. Costs a little bit extra stamina, so if you're a stamina hungry build, you may not want to use this, but it is a great deviant nonetheless. And they drop in a lot of locations. I'll start from the top of the map that we have available to us currently. This is Greywater Camp in Iron River. There is a pond right by this teleportation tower. There are lily pads and they spawn there. You can even use this teleportation tower to world hop between the different worlds in your server to give you better chances at finding it if you don't find it right away. It's a very easy farm. There are other locations that you can find Frog the Leaper though. There is a jump puzzle near Riverheart Harbor. If you go to the top of that, it has a chance of being there. Excuse me. There is down by First Industries. First Industries is right here. This is below Deadsville. You take a left, and there is another jumping puzzle right by that marker right there. You can get Frog the Leaper there. There are lily pads by the Rift Anchor of the Sutherland Chemical Plant, and right by the lake there are lily pads here that you can also find Frog the Leaper. There's many spots for Frog the Leaper. You can farm it one way or another, and you may find multiple just by exploring the world. And that does it for Frog the Leaper. Next we have, let's see who's next on the list here. The Polar Jelly. This is a wonderful combat deviant. However, it is even better if you are a Frost Vortex build, because it makes you do more frost damage to enemies near it. This deviant allows you to taunt enemies near it towards the deviant, and it explodes in this gravitational pulse grenade of frost over and over again. This thing is wonderful. Where you can get the polar jelly is from the cargo shuffles. Specifically, when you're doing cargo shuffle, you need another enemy near you, or PvP player, and they will drop these red shards as you damage them. Picking up those red shards give you a chance at getting this polar jelly. Not only that, but your frost vortex when spawned within the area causes extra shards to spawn, so extra damage. This is a wonderful combat deviant, and even if you're not a frost vortex build, you may find that you want to use the polar jelly. Next, we have Mr. Wish, and Mr. Wish has not changed one bit since the beta. He's still a boss. He really is. He will be able to be activated to cause a weak point or a mark to be put on the enemy so they take more damage from all sources of damage. And this Mr. Wish is a little bit harder to get. He still spawns in the same spot, and that's the first silo in the game down here, which is right there. Silo Sigma. This is by the Rift Anchor right here. The closest, Rift Anchor, the closest teleportation tower is near the high banks that has a Rift Anchor. So you can do that, you can go over there, but this farm is going to be rather dastardly. I believe, and this is purely off of opinion, that Mr. Wish now has a drop rate between 1 in 20 to 1 in 40. It's a rough farm. And no longer does he spawn in the deviation bubble, but he spawns in the reward in the seepage zone in the purple the purple thing that you get when you finish bosses and dungeons. He's in that. He's no longer in his own bubble. And to get into that seepage zone, you need to be able to get a key card from one of the enemies in the very starting part of the zone. If you don't get that Rosetta Access version 3 card, you will not be able to get into that seepage zone. Anyways, so Mr. Wish is a good deviant. You can absolutely use him. It increases damage. He does good damage on his own. It's a fun time. Next in the list, we have the Chefosaurus. There are 2 locations to get the Chefosaurus. There is a quest giver in all towns called Low. And in all towns, he gives you quests for deviants. At least in the first 3 towns, he's done this. The Chefosaurus comes from a quest in the 2nd town. However, he also drops from the 2nd silo in the game, which is right by where my house is currently. This is Greywater Camp. In Silo 5, Chefosaurus will drop. And from there, you just have fun. It dropped really easy for everyone. First or second attempt, it felt like for most people. A much easier drop rate to obtain, an easy deviant to obtain. Not only that, but it's free after you complete a quest, which is in the 2nd town. That is being Mayor's Market. Sorry, I had a hiccup. But Mayor's Market will give you Chefosaurus as a reward. And then it will also give you another deviant, which we'll get to here shortly. But that's Chefosaurus for you. Chefosaurus, it increases the efficiency of your cooking, so you cook faster and better. It's that simple. Next, we have the Buzzy Bee. The Buzzy Bee helps mutate crops in your garden. The Buzzy Bee is pretty nice if you're doing massive garden plots. You'll probably want the Buzzy Bee if you do those things. Yet the Buzzy Bee isn't the easiest Buzzy Bee to obtain. I'm gonna try not to say Buzzy Bee much longer than that. But where I have found him is in 3 locations. This is Deadsville, the starting town. In Citrus County, you can find the Buzzy Bee in the fields. It seems like they may move. It's also in the Sutherland Family Orchard. You can find it in the archway near the southeastern entry of the Sutherland Family Orchard. And thirdly, I have found the Buzzy Bee in Sunbury Farm. I found him down here by some bales of hay. I don't know if they spawn in multiple locations. However, really, if it's a farm or a orchard, you'll most likely be able to find a Buzzy Bee there, it seems. However, those are 3 confirmed locations for the Buzzy Bee. To the next in the field guide, we have H37. This is one darn cute deviant, and it comes again from a quest. And H37, I feel in the beta was maybe better. Maybe. I did not keep H37 out as a territorial deviant to gather junk in the world, simply because it didn't seem like they were retrieving much junk. It just seemed like they got 1 or 2 items, and it used to be a lot more. This is Greywater Camp. This is in Iron River. This is the 3rd town that you enter. And in the refinery pollution point area, there is a quest that drops on this southern area here that you can find the starting point of the quest for H37. You complete that quest. That quest brings you all the way to Rippleby. So you run around a little bit, but on completion, 100% chance you'll get H37. As a territory deviant, it gathers junk for you, which you can then disassemble into multiple different things. Next, we have the Fetch-A-Lot Bunny, and a lot of people do not know where to get the Fetch-A-Lot Bunny, and what the Fetch-A-Lot Bunny does is brings you, well, fruits and berries and vegetables. So it will go around and plucking any food items it can find for you, and it can even give you seeds. And there is a great spot to get the Fetch-A-Lot Bunny right by my base. If I exit out the front door and look over on a non-foggy day, because it is kind of foggy right now, there is a giant, there it is. You see that giant tree right over there? Anytime you see a giant tree, you can cut it down for a chance at a Fetch-A-Lot Bunny. And in this case, that giant tree is over here, I believe, right here in the Iron River. There are a few more down south. There's plenty of these trees that you can find, but just know that if you find a giant tree and you cut it down, you have a very high chance of getting a Fetch-A-Lot Bunny from it. Not every tree will drop you one. Some trees will drop you up to 3 Fetch-A-Lot Bunnies. I'm sure someone in the comments will say they even got 4 or 5. It's based on per chop chances, so you do have the chance to get multiples from one tree, or potentially none. And if you're curious what the Fetch-A-Lot Bunny does, there they are, bringing materials back home. Let's see what they got us this time. It looks like they got us some corn. Corn seeds, hawthorn berries, mushrooms, and blueberries. Food items, you get a lot of spoilage from Fetch-A-Lot Bunnies, so you can make a lot of fertilizer without having to go and harvest materials yourself. That is a very nice thing with the Fetch-A-Lot Bunny that you may not recognize, because you don't, it's not an instant turnover. You know, you get the fruits and the foods, but you don't realize that they will spoil and then be able to be turned into compost and fertilizer. On to the next in this Explorer's Guide. We go to the Deviation Archive, and after the Fetch-A-Lot Bunny is the Gingerbread House. And the Gingerbread House is, well, what's a good way to put this? I mean, I like it, but I also, it's a fun item. Let me put it that way. It's a fun item. What you can do with the Gingerbread House is when you produce the item, it can turn you into a random gag item in the game. It could be a bush, it could be a chair, it could be a balloon. You just turn into something that is an asset in the game. Now, this would be great if it hid your name. At least in the beta, it didn't hide your name. If it hides your name in launch, and I don't know, please correct me, but until it hides your name, we can't play prop hunt. That's the reason for the Gingerbread House, is so we can play prop hunt and try to hide from friends and do silly shenanigans. Until then, I usually put the Gingerbread House on the shelf and don't use it. It comes from 2 locations. The 3rd town, if you talk to Low, he will have a quest for the Gingerbread House. Yet morphic chests, when you find them, those are the hidden chests that you find in the world. When you use your Rift Space Q snap, that will allow you to find more Gingerbread Houses in the morphic chests. So those are where you find those. Next, we have the Logging Beaver, and a lot of people want a Logging Beaver because it's free wood. in your base, and it's nice to just have an extra amount of wood, especially early in the game when you need so much for charcoal. Charcoal takes an absurd amount of wood resource until you are able to get electric furnaces. And once you get electric furnaces, the logging beaver kind of goes on the back burner because you're using stone and cement structures instead of wood structures. However, they do not drop furniture anymore. It seems like they did in the beta. And if you have got furniture from the logging beaver in launch, let me know. I've been having one out for a while and I've had no luck finding it. Where you can find logging beavers is anywhere there's a surge of fish event. There is one at this dock by Greywater. The beaver spawns right about there. You have another over here by... Where is it? I'm going. I think it's right over here by Rippleby. It might not, but wherever there's a surge of fish event, there's another one by Mayor's Market. You can get a beaver over by Mayor's Market by the docks where they have a fishing event. And maybe even down here in the docks where they have a fishing event. But whenever you see a fishing event come up on a map, you might have a high chance of finding a logging beaver there. Not only that, but as the map expands, there's going to be more fishing events where you can find even more logging beavers. Going on to the next. We have the Space Turner. And the Space Turner is an item that everyone in this game needs if you play with friends. If you don't play with friends, you may not need this item and it's the worst thing for you. Yet the Space Turner is a wonderful item. It is one of my favorites because it allows me to teleport everyone over to me in my group without making them use energy links to do so. And they can also teleport me to them when need be. You get the Space Twister that does that. And it's just, let me tell you, I can't stress enough how good the Space Turner is. And where you get the Space Turner is one in Dayton Hospital. If you go to the first town, Deadsville, go straight north to the Monolithic Reed, that's where the first boss is. You can take the teleporter at that monolith and jump down to Dayton Hospital. By the Dayton warehouse, there's a quest that starts. And if you complete that quest, the Space Turner is a 100% drop rate from that quest. However, it has a couple other spawn points, which is one is here. It's a door monolith. It's a whole bunch of doors all put in different directions, and it has a split chance of being found there along with the Strange Door. So the Strange Door is another deviant. The Space Turner and the Strange Door share a spawn, and you're going to get one or the other. It feels like I've never seen them both at the same place. I've only seen one or the other. This is one spot. And then also there is another spot down by this event down here. This is near the Gaia Research Center ruins. Near this tar pit. Can't remember if it's right here or right here. There's another one of those door monoliths that you can go to. And not only that, but going to Chalk Peak on the road to Chalk Peak. Chalk Peak's over here, excuse me, in Tallgrass Inn. There is another monolith right around here somewhere. So as you're driving over, you can take a look on the road on your left and see if you can get yet another Strange Door or a Space Turner. So that's Space Turner for you, a wonderful item. Everyone should have it, just like the Harveseed and Frog the Leaper. Next on the guide, and remember when I said this was going to be a long video? I wasn't lying. There's a lot to talk about. We have the Digby Boy. And everyone, let me tell you, everyone loves the Digby Boy. And you want to have him as a territorial deviant in your base because he will gather not only copper, not only tin ore, not only iron ore, aluminum, he'll gather that too. In the beta, he did not gather tungsten. He may coming up, but he now also gathers silver ore, which he never did before, which is a very hard thing to find for most people. And because of that, I'm hoping he may even be able to find gold ore. If he also gets tungsten, this is a wonderful deviant that you want the best of the best so that he can bring you as many materials as he can for you. The Digby Boy drops 100% of the time on the first hit of your game from a tin ore node. However, you'll never get it from tin again. From there on out, you need to find silver ore nodes, and it's a very high drop rate. Most likely, I would say per silver ore, it's 5 strikes. You usually get 1 Digby Boy. So 1 in 5 hits will give you a Digby Boy. Maybe it's a little bit less. Maybe it's 1 in 10. But I found probably 10 silver ore nodes, and I've probably got 7 or 8 Digby Boys. It is a very common drop from silver. So that's all about the Digby Boy. And then we're on to the Zeno-Purifier. Oh, this is a new deviant, and it is a very cool deviant. This deviant is a combat deviant that teleports between enemies and chops them with its samurai sword. And it is a badass. It is as tall as your character is, and it gives you 1 extra bonus buff. When you have the Zeno-Purifier out, you will be able to blink step with your melee weapons to the enemies as well. So you can cover absurd amounts of distances very quickly with the Zeno-Purifier. The only place I have found the Zeno-Purifier myself is if you go into the season scenario here and go into season goals of Mist and Mirage, and you go to challenges, he is a drop from one of the challenges of the season. Now, I have another buddy who has found another Zeno-Purifier, and where he said it dropped, and feel free to tell me he's full of shit or he is correct, is near Dadsville. You go down to Overlook Town, and there is the giant deviated TV that drops the giant enemy out of it, and he said a Zeno-Purifier dropped from that enemy. That is really cool if we can farm these from enemies. I don't know if it's an enemy type yet. If it isn't, then it's only from this one enemy, and if it is, you have other chances to farm these all over the map. But I've never got lucky in finding one. Let me know if you have. On to the next again. We have the Rain Man. Now, the Rain Man is a very nice territorial deviant if you don't have automated watering in your base. Once you have automated watering, I don't feel like the Rain Man is really necessary. However, the Rain Man looks pretty darn cool. To get the Rain Man, you can get it to drop from any Rainfall Dancer. Those are the deviants that are kind of invisible, and when you get near them, an umbrella manifests, and then they manifest under the umbrella, and they drop a blue orb of loot. It can have a chance of dropping from that blue orb. So that is where you get the Rain Man. And for anyone who wants someone to water plants for you, maybe it's outside of your realm of electricity in your base or something, the Rain Man is your answer. Next, we have the Strange Door. The Strange Door is actually a really fun item. However, you don't need to keep it in your base forever unless you want to have a crazy fun house. From how I understand how the Strange Door works, I have some of these set up downstairs because I think it's a fun idea, and this reminds me of the fun idea. I have 2 Strange Doors, one there and one there. If I go through this Strange Door, I come out of Strange Door number 2. However, if I have a 3rd Strange Door, I have a chance of going out from Strange Door 1 to Strange Door 2 or 3. So you don't know where you're going to appear. So having 2 of these is a surefire way to make an elevator or a teleporter within your base of sorts. These are only used within your base, not outside of your base. So just keep that in mind. Strange doors are found, as I was saying earlier, at the door monoliths, just where you found the space turners. There's one by my campsite here. This is one spot for the Strange Door. There is another down by the Dark Rises event over here. There's a Strange Door either here or here. I'm not sure exactly where. And then also you find another Strange Door going towards the tall grass in Chalk Peak along the road. To the left, you'll find it. I think it might be that little thing right there. That little divot in the left side of the road might be another Strange Door monolith. where you might be able to find the Space Turner as well. As I said, from what I'm seeing is that these two deviants share a spawn point, but you won't see both deviants there at the same time. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm happy to accept defeat. I'm just trying to get information out to help everyone trying to find these deviants and fill out their deviant decks, or whatever you want to call it. On to the next thing in the deviant archive, we have the Party Monkey. The Party Monkey is just a fun deviant. He's also kind of creepy. He kind of reminds me of Five Nights at Freddy's in a weird sense. This is a defensive crafting monkey, so it gives you a craft in your base just like the Strange Door does. And what it does is when you have the Party Monkey, he waits for enemies to come around and he gets real annoying, makes a lot of noise, and attracts them to him so that they won't attack other things in your base. That's what the Strange Monkey does. The Strange Monkey is found at a rare chance, it feels like, from refineries. Not only refineries, but also workshops, which are a different type of refinery. I don't know if they're two separate things, but if you see a workshop or a refinery on the map, you can have a chance at getting the Party Monkey, or at a more common chance, the Shattered Maiden, which we'll be talking about in a moment. So anywhere you can find a refinery or workshop, you can get these deviants. Next on the list, we have the Voodoo Doll. The Voodoo Doll is a fun guy. So what the Voodoo Doll does is you can have the damage that would go to you or a party member be redirected to the Voodoo Doll, or you can redirect the damage that you would take to another enemy nearby you. So it translates some of the damage that you would take and gives it to someone else, or takes it away from you. So say if you have a big boss who's about to attack you and you know you're going to take damage, you can take the Voodoo Doll, throw it towards the boss, it will attach to the boss, and the boss will take part of the damage that it just sent to you. Do I think this is a wonderful or great deviant? I'm torn. I really don't think so, but I'm sure someone's going to find a wonderful way to use this and make it killer. Just really make it good. But that's not me. I'm not going to be able to do that. Let me know if you found any unique ways to use the Voodoo Doll. Now, where to get the Voodoo Doll? It spawns around the map in a few different spots, but you have a quest that you can get 100% of the time. And that is in the junkyard, which is, here's Mayor's Market. This is the second town. You go all the way west. You go past the lake. You can go to this teleporter, and it's right by this rift anchor in the junkyard. You go to the junkyard, and in the warehouse, there is a whole bunch of just Rosetta employees hanging out, and by there is a little gun that gives you the quest Carnival of Doom, if I remember the name right. You complete the Carnival of Doom quest, and you get the Voodoo Doll at a 100% chance. However, the Voodoo Doll spawns in two other locations that we have found. One is in Rippleby. If you know where the Mystic Chest is in Rippleby, it's right by the Mystic Chest at a chance. It is a tongue twister for myself. And I believe it is in the Coastside Plaza. This is where does the disco go quest spawns. And from that quest, not from the quest, but from the hospital near that quest, you can get a Voodoo Doll in the stairway as well. If you found more in any location, let me know. There's so many places to search in this game for deviants, it's easy to miss a potential spawn point. Next on the deviation list, how many more do we got? We're almost done. That's nice. We have the Flame Essence, and people love the Flame Essence because it's cute. It's kind of ugly cute. Don't get me wrong. It's like ugly cute. And I want to know, I want to think I know how to use the Flame Essence, but I think because my furnace specializations are so focused on reducing the crafting time of the items in the furnace, I don't see how well this deviant reduces the crafting time of things in your furnace. That is what this deviant does. It reduces the time it takes for you to craft ingots and bars so that you can go quicker. I should find a silver or gold ore and be able to make a bar with it, and then maybe I can figure out how much time it's saving. This has 3 known locations of spawning, and one is always heavily trafficked, and that is down over in the second zone. Mayor's Market is the town. You go over to the Sutherland chemical plant, and right in this building right here, you will find a chance at getting the flame essence. That is the most well-known spot to get the flame essence, and it is heavily trafficked and it's hard to find it there. However, if you go to Hearst Industries, in this center building, there are these 2 giant silos, you can say, or dumping shafts, and underneath the furthest most one, you can find a flame essence there. I'll be trying to post pictures to this video. I will edit it post, but this main take, this like 40-50 minute take for Deviants is all one thing. I'm just talking and talking. The final 3rd place to get the flame essence is by Greywater Camp, and this location is the Greywater Industrial Zone. There are, if you go across this bridge, there are some pipes on your right that can contain a flame essence. So this is a chance for you to get another one, and I think this is the less well-known spot to get the flame essence, so this is where you can capture it probably the easiest. Until this video is out and everyone's trying to do it, because I just ruined the secret. Sorry about that. But you have 3 spots. Hopefully one of them works for you. Next in the deviation archive, we have the Shattered Maiden. She's cute, isn't she? She has that bag and the you know, the blush. I don't really know. This is a funny deviant design for me, and it's a very easy deviant to get. I found multiple of the Shattered Maidens. This deviant, when out and as a combat deviant and attacking, will slow and chain enemies, but also will allow explosion damage received by that enemy to be increased by 50%. So I don't know if that means blast damage. I don't have a good, what is it called? The Jaws uses blast damage in its explosions to deal its damage. I don't know if explosion and blast is the same, but what I'm understanding is most likely it is. And if it isn't, then this will be good for grenades. But the Shattered Maiden drops simply from the same place that the Party Monkey drops, and that is in any refinery or workshop. I keep pointing out to these 2. There's so many along the map. I'm just showing you a workshop. There's many across the whole map, especially later on, and refineries, the same thing. You can make these higher difficulties and maybe get better chances at dropping these deviants. You will not get a deviant every time you do this, but you have a high chance of getting a deviant, one or the other. The Party Monkey is definitely more rare than the Shattered Maiden. So another combat deviant that increases a type of damage. You're seeing a trend with combat deviants that they focus on a type of damage or making you survive better. The Extradimensional Cat. The Extradimensional Cat is a giant cat. A very nice cat. And this is a cat that keeps you safe at night, you can say. The Extradimensional Cat gives you a buff that when you sleep will regenerate your health over time for the next while. And it also is just generally a nice deviant to have around your place. It doesn't do much, but damn does it not look good. It is a very prestigious cat. I don't have any mood for it, so it won't come out. But this thing is bigger than me. This cat is huge, and it's just fun to see walking around your property. And I think it's just a flair item that most people want because of that. Where you find it is in 3 different locations in each of the towns. and maybe more towns to come. But in Deadsville, it's behind the main building. It's right behind where Lowell sits, you know, behind that building, and to the side a little bit. In Mayor's Market, it spawns by the pillars out back of the topmost building on the hill. And by far the easiest place to find it I have found is over in Greywater Camp. Right next to the wish machine in the building. It's hidden by that front wall of the building typically. But if you teleport to Greywater and it's not there, you simply shift worlds over and over again until you see it. You can also do this in Deadsville and Mayor's Market as well. But this is the quickest place to teleport back and forth really quickly to try to get a obtain drop of the Extradimensional Cat for yourself. So a very easy to get Deviant. It just takes a few minutes, maybe a little bit more to get it to drop for you, or have the spawn be up for it, rather. Next, we have the Mini Feaster. The Mini Feaster is a very fun Deviant. I was using it for most of the early game, and this comes from 2 different locations. One is the second town. You can get a quest from Low that will drop the Mini Feaster at a 100% drop rate, so you're guaranteed this Deviant. And also, and I think this is a bug, but the Stardust zones, or the mist zones, or some people call them the giant purple balloon zones, that looks like a balloon's hanging out above the zone. It's the zones that you either fight hordes of enemies with a Gatling gun or bosses with a Gatling gun, typically. Sometimes you have to blow up eggs with lightning bolts or your gun if it's strong enough. But those zones always drop a Mini Feaster. And if it's a high chance, I've never not had one drop. So tell me if I'm wrong. But the Mini Feaster can be obtained through that as well. So that's the Mini Feaster for you. It's a fun combat Deviant, and also it works with bounce. And this is a fun little piece of trivia for you. In the blueprints and weapon, you can go to SMGs. Let me see if I can choose it off the right one. I did. You have the, not an SMG. Excuse me. It's a light machine gun, an LMG. And the Mr. Squid is a bounce on crit, essentially, machine gun. And how Mini Feaster works is when you have a bounce go to a target, they have a chance to spawn a tentacle at that target once every 1.5 seconds, roughly. Sometimes it feels like it's sooner. Sometimes it feels like per enemy, it's a 1.5 second cooldown. So you can have like 6 or 7 tentacles come down and thwack enemies back and forth for extra damage while you're hitting them with a bounce gun. So that's a fun synergy. And also just a fun little piece of trivia that the squid gun works with the squid Deviant. Isn't that kind of neat? Okay, we're digging through this deviation archive, I'm telling you. We have the paper figure. The paper figure is a simple Deviant. You get it from Low in the first town. It's one of the first quests you get in the entire game. This Deviant repairs, that's right, it repairs your base for you. And other than that, it just sweeps to keep your base clean. That's all it does. It is a territorial Deviant. I think it looks kind of fun. And just in case you have wolves or some sort of enemies that come and attack your base, this will keep it from having any pieces of your base break, unless it's a complete onslaught. Outside of that, that's the only place I've ever found a paper figure. I don't think you can farm these in the game in our limited scope of the world so far, but in the future we might find a spot for it. Next on, we have the Lethal Rabbit. And the Lethal Rabbit, I think, is a best in slot Deviant. 100% a best in slot Deviant. The Lethal Rabbit, what they do is it's a territory Deviant that can gather multiple different types of meat for you. So it's free jerky or free food stuffs, just like the Fetch-a-Lot bunny. But instead of it being a vegetarian bunny, this is a carnivorous bunny. Not only that, but you can get extra hide as a drop as well. So instead of you farming deer to make sure that you have repair materials at your base as you're going through content, because you need leather to repair your armor, this little man here will be able to get you the leather instead of you spending time doing it. However, to get him, you had to spend a lot of time killing rabbits. I know, it's terrible. I've get 2 lethal rabbits. I think I had to kill something like 120 rabbits. I'm not joking you. Now, those rabbits turned into plenty of jerky, and I am very grateful for those rabbits, but I'm more grateful that I got the lethal bunny to drop because it is a wonderful deviant, and you should have one in your base. If you need help finding a good spot to find rabbits to slay, they're by beaches. So, you know, you go along beaches and you'll find rabbits. The best place I have found is you go to Deadsville, you run down. There's a deviant that I'm about to talk about that spawns in Hearst Industries. You go there, see if you can get lucky with that deviant, the next deviant in line, and then you go over to the beach and you run down the beach on the edge and you find bunnies and you just take them out. And as you do that, you can make a loop over here. And I find that some bunnies are over here on the beach. And you run up, and if it took you enough time, the deviant or the enemy that drops the deviant in Hearst Industries will respawn and you can try your luck again. But also, bunnies will drop anywhere on the beach, especially over by Rippleby, the northern side of Rippleby. There's a ton of bunnies up in here too. So it's another great farming spot. So those are spots to farm bunnies to get the lethal bunny. And now we're on to our final deviant that we have found in the first week. Now, if you have found any other deviants and I don't know about it, let me know. And you may have, because this is a PvE server that I'm in. If you're in a PvP server, you might have different results than I do. There's a lot of mystery deviants, and I'm just assuming we'll get them later. And I did hear that PvP servers have gotten the Chefosaurus Rex, so I have hope that we will earn the same deviants PvE or PvP wise. However, that may not be the case, and that's my own hopeful self. So we'll find out. We have the Artisan's Touch. And there's a secret with the Artisan's Touch that I don't think many people know. And I haven't been able to try it myself because to make the item of this crafting deviant, you need 40 of its pieces to be able to make one touch item. Let me explain. First, the Artisan Touch that I have is over here. And it's going about its business. And I have 21 pieces. In a total, I have 23 pieces. If I go over to the workbench, this is a complex deviant. I'm just going to start it there. The all-purpose hand is the item that it creates, and it instantly repairs the equipped gear with the lowest durability to full. Now you might say, okay, well, how do you choose that? You need 40 universal toolkits. That's what the all-purpose hand is made from, and what the artisan hand drops. You need stardust source and acid, so these are expensive resources, and you need a crystal of the tier that you're building. So you want a tier 2, a tier 3, a tier 4, or a tier 5 weapon. You need the proper crystal. So we're going to be farming platinum crystals for this all-purpose hand. And the reason why we'll be doing it is not necessarily to repair our guns that we have made, but I've heard from a few different sources that you can repair items you have found in the world. That means that if you found a very nice gun that you think was awesome in the world, you can keep it a little bit longer than you used to be able to because you could never repair them. You could calibrate them and make them stronger, but you were never able to repair them to the best of the best and keep using these guns you found in the overworld. It was one of the biggest complaints in the beta, and I'm glad that the devs heard us and potentially gave us a way to be able to use these items in a longer state of being. That's the Artisan's Touch for you. Now, if I'm wrong, I apologize, and I'm sorry for getting your hopes up, but my hopes are up because I've been letting this dude farm his little pieces all day, and it takes a long time to get. And I really want to see if that's true or not. And if it is true, I'll put a big comment saying it's true. The Artisan's Hand absolutely allows you to repair items that you find in the overworld, or I'll say otherwise. To find the Artisan's Hand, there's been only one spot in the map that we have been able to get him to drop. He drops from an enemy called a Scorcher. And if you go to Deadsville, go down into the Hearst Industries and into one of these buildings, I believe it is this building right here, you will find a Scorcher. He's the enemy that has a giant engine for a face and spits lava balls, it looks like, at you. You kill him, he drops a blue orb, and that blue orb gives you a chance at getting the Artisan's Touch. And it is a low chance, unfortunately. For myself, I've tried a dozen times and got him once. A lot of my friends have tried twice or 3 times and got him, so I don't really know what the drop rate is. But most likely you'll want a couple of these to get the most benefit from them. And with that, those are all the deviants I have found in the first week, and I think I did find them all. I think I found every deviant in the first week, and if I didn't, let me know what you found and if you are on a PvP server. That's very important, because I might be missing stuff because I'm on a PvE server. I might want to collect them all, but I might not be in a place to collect them all. Let me know. Thank you guys for hanging out this long if you have, and learning something. I hopefully my video has helped you, and if it has, great. Otherwise, I'll be producing more videos like this for you to get more information about Once Human out to you so you can understand how to do these farms and collections better. I appreciate it. Have a great day or night. Thank you for watching. Later.